horror fans, once again, it's the Horror Miser Monty G here to do another movie review, and today we're going to review the movie Annihilation. Yes, I finally saw it last night, and here is going to be my review of it. Ha 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 ha. Now, Annihilation is a 2018 science fiction thriller horror film. It was written and directed by Alex Garland, based upon the novel of the same name by Jeff Vandermeer. Now, I'm pretty sure y'all know Alex Garland. He wrote oh boy, Ex Machina Machine. I think that's how you pronounce it. Last year, which got very good praise, and he also wrote 28 Days Later and the actual pretty good film Dread. So he's got an impressive resume. Obviously, right now, the film stars Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and Gina Rodriguez. Now, this movie has gotten some very good praise. My good friend Lee from Drum Dums and CP from Will I Like It Reviews, they really gave it a lot of praise. Matter of fact, Lee has made this his #1 film of the year so far. So I said, you know what, I gotta finally watch it. It took me a while to finally see it. I finally saw it last night. So here is my review of Annihilation. So basically, this film is told in a flashback. It is told in a non-linear way. We start off with Alex Portman's character, Lena. She is sitting down and a whole bunch of scientists are looking at her weird. And obviously, basically, she's already experienced what we're going to see in the film. And then we flash back to when she is teaching. I believe she's a biology teacher or some type of cell teacher. And she eventually has think that her husband has passed away. His name is Kane. Looks like he is a special forces guy. All of a sudden, he shows up unexpectedly without any explanation whatsoever. Next thing you know, he gets sick. They rush him to the hospital. They're taken by these black SUVs. Next thing you know, she's spirited away over to some place called I think it's Area X. And we come to find out, as we saw at the beginning of the film, some type of organism is growing exponentially around the coast of Florida. And it keeps growing and growing. And any time they send people in there, they never come back out. So eventually she and some other women decide to go in there to find out, investigate what's going on in this thing, which they call the shimmer, and find out what's causing it and see what they can do to stop it from growing, because eventually it's going to grow even larger and probably encompass the entire world. And that's basically what this movie is about. Basically, there's more stuff to this movie. Now, first of all, this movie looks incredibly very well made. Visually speaking, very well made. Outside, the shimmer looks like one of those big blow bubbles that I used to play with when I was a little kid. And it looks like some type of glass with a lot of colors in it, a lot of purples, a lot of glassy substance in it. That's what the outside of the shimmer looks like. So that was pretty well done. Inside is very green. You see a whole bunch of green throughout the film, throughout when they're inside the shimmer. The animals inside the shimmer, they've been affected by it. They look like they've joined the animals together. You see a crocodile that has been crossed with a shark because it has 2 rows of teeth. You see a bear that comes into play. It looks like for some reason when it kills its victims, it takes on its personality, what the person experienced. That comes into play. You see like deer. It looks like they've been altered to look like some type of antelope deer combination. So all this looks stunning, and even the flowers look very different. Very purplish color, very kind of psychedelic. Kind of reminds me of a movie called Altered States that came out in the 70s. That was kind of psychedelic. And so this visuals here in the story kind of looks psychedelic. So I give Alex Garland and his film people and his cinematographer and everybody credit for making a very stunning looking film. It actually gives its own character when you're looking at the inside of the shimmer. And especially when we get towards the end of the film, we get to the lighthouse where you see the crystal-like trees and even the lighthouse. That also looks like its own character. I won't give any much away, but everything about this film looks visually stunning, very great. You see how the light refracts off of this stuff when they're inside the shimmer, and that's part of the reason what they discover about what the shimmer does. So very good visual stuff, and that's what really I enjoyed about this particular part of the film is how well the film looks and how well it's shot. The second thing I really enjoyed about this film is obviously all the actors. Obviously, Natalie Portman does a great job as Leah. We find out that she is very disappointed, very sad because she thinks her husband is dead and she really did love him. We find later on that she also has secrets in that, which I'll talk about later. I won't spoil it, but I'll talk about that later. We also found out that she was in the military for several years. That actually comes into play. But I actually, not only did I like her, but I actually love Jennifer Jason Leigh's character. I believe her name is Ventress. She really does an excellent job. I think she's the main focal point of the film, not about Natalie Portman's character, but I believe her character as well, because she comes off as this very stagnant, very cold, very direct woman. And I think she played her character very well. Even the other two women, Gina Rodriguez, she played very well. All the women in this film are very strong characters, and they also have their vulnerabilities. And when they're inside the shimmer, unfortunately, those vulnerabilities come into play. Especially Gina Rodriguez's character. She starts to skits. Fortunately, later on in the film, and that's her vulnerability. We find out that I think her name is Posey, not Posey. I think her name is Josie. That's her name, like Josie and the Pussycats. Josie, she also has her vulnerability. So, fortunately, that comes into play too, but it doesn't take away their strengths as women in the film. So, I really appreciate what they did for all these women. But again, Natalie Portman kills it in this film, but I really like Jennifer Jason Leigh's character. She really drives the film a lot. So, I really love those two women's performances the most. Now, this film does have some flaws. It's not perfect. One thing I didn't like is the cliched ending. I really didn't like that ending. I kind of thought it when I was looking at when I look back at the film, I kind of realized what was happening in the beginning. I won't spoil it as far as what happens at the end of the film when we learn about the secret, what's going on, what the purpose of the shimmer is doing, and I really didn't like the cliche ending. I also didn't like about the secret that Leah's character has, as we find out later on. I say around the middle of the second act. Kind of cliched, but I guess they just did it for dramatic purposes because while they're in the shimmer, we see stuff that happens to her, and we see images of their house and how it changes because we find out that she's really did not have a good marriage or a happy marriage. And while they're in the shimmer, that sort of plays into that fact. But I thought that was kind of cliched. It doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the film. I just thought that the ending was a bit cliched, and her secret that we find out later on in the film is kind of cliched as well. But I still enjoyed the film. That did not take away from the film at all. Now, this film has a lot of themes in it. One of the things, because of the type of job that Lena's characters does, and what really the purpose of this organism is doing, maybe because they think that human beings are a cancer, and that's what they're trying to do is like, hey, look, human beings are a cancer, so we're going to slowly but surely change the whole structure of this planet because human beings are a cancer, and that could be one of the themes that they play because they think that, hey, look, we're going to kill off all human beings. And that could be one of the themes that Alex Garland and his team of writers thought about doing, or the fact that, like Jennifer Jason Leigh's character says in the picture, we're self-destructive. Maybe this thing is paying us back for being the destructive nature that we have in ourselves and human beings. That's another one of the themes that they have. But like I said before, this film does play a lot of themes in the picture. But again, I really enjoyed this film. As I said before, this film is very incredible. It's super well made, very well acted. Despite the cliche ending and the cliche surprise that we see in the middle of the film, I truly enjoyed this film a lot. I can understand why a lot of people do praise it, and I can understand why a lot of people are a bit miffed about it, because it does leave you thinking, and it's a lot to take in. But I truly enjoyed the film, and I can see why people do put it as a number one film, and I believe that I'm going to do the same thing. This right now is the best film I've seen so far this year. So, The Horror Miser is going to open up his vote. And I'm going to give Annihilation 4.5 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, that's how much I truly enjoyed it. Annihilation will get 5.5 out of my, not 5.5, sorry, 4.5 out of my 5 gold coins. Yes, that's how much I truly enjoyed Annihilation. So, my horror fans, have you seen Annihilation? Do you think this is the best horror film of the year, or the best film of the year that you've seen, or do you think it's a little iffy, or you just thought it was all over the place, you really didn't like it? Leave your comments down in your comment section below and tell me what you thought about Annihilation. Alright fans, once again, that's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, because once again, it does really help the channel out. But what helps it out even more is that if you're new here, you know what you gotta do. That's right, you gotta hit that subscriber button and ring that notification bell. That way you can come and join the horror experience with me, the Horror Miser Monty G. And as always, all my social media links will be down at the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember, horror rules.